Hi, welcome to the Main Stage Podcast, the podcast about all things competitive Call of Duty in the CDL, hosted by me, Nate Burleson, and Alex Friel. Today, we're going to get into some topics about the Kickoff Classic. We're going to recap all the games. We're going to talk about who looked the best, who impressed us the most, who looked a little bad, you know what I mean? But no disrespect. We're also going to get into some award candidates. We're going to talk about the top three, maybe each of our top three MVP candidates, going to try to spice it up a little bit with some dark horses and things like that. We're going to talk Rookie of the Year, and we're going to talk maybe Coach of the Year candidates too as well. So we're going to talk about all this stuff. We're going to figure it out. Alex, how are you feeling? How do you feel after finally being able to watch Call of Duty again?
I feel excited. I am hopeful that we'll get league play soon because there's so much momentum right now with the movement. Everyone was kind of doubting the game and they showed it and it was so much fun to
Mm-hmm.
watch. And now everybody cannot wait for the first, home series in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. I mean, the game was really fun to watch, and one of the first things I want to note is that I loved the Codcaster. I loved how it looked. I loved the units. I loved the way everything kind of came together with that. I think it really fit the game and really fit the CDL's own vibe as well.
Yeah, I think aesthetically it's just becoming into more of what it's supposed to be, and I think it did look very nice. They didn't have like the COD League thing backgrounds. They
Mm-hmm.
did the green screen and had like it's all silver, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it definitely matches Cold
Mm-hmm.
War, CIA,
Yeah.
blah. I think we're in for a good year.
No, I agree too. Everybody looked great on the desk. There were definitely some technical problems. I mean, they still really haven't figured it out, but it is very difficult to kind of bring all that together when everybody's
Yeah,
in different areas on different internet networks. That's definitely very complicated,
yeah.
but you would think they could smooth things out a little bit. But more for me, it was kind of the pacing of the broadcast felt a little odd. Be like 20 minutes of talking in between maps, weird interviews in between maps. Like, and the maps are
But
pre-recorded,
then,
but
but
I don't know.
then then the matches started like immediately,
Mm-hmm.
walk my dogs in between the Ultra Paris or not no before Ultra and Rocket, right? Like
Right.
as soon as London and Paris ended, I went to walk my dogs and I turned on my phone to go on the stream and it had been like 5 minutes and they were already starting the hard point. But
Yeah.
it felt like it took ages in between the maps. So, it's like downtime in between maps, but then not in between matches.
Right.
It's kind of a weird vibe.
No, I get that. I definitely get that. Um, let's talk about the games though, because they were actually wonderful. The first game of the day was, or the first game of the weekend on Saturday was New York versus Dallas. This was the only game that I really like got correct, like fully correct. I don't know. I was looking at Dallas 3-0 in New York. I think a lot of people were though. So it's not that impressive of a prediction, but I was pretty wrong all weekend. But I was right about this one. Dallas cleaned them up. What do you think about it?
Um, I think that Dallas looked as good as we thought they'd all be. I think that them and Optic are, the number one teams. I think that Diamond Khan played better
Mm-hmm.
than I thought he might. Clay played worse than I thought he would. But I'm not really too worried about New York. They did look bad, but they had such a terrible
Yeah,
week
yeah.
prior with
Mm-hmm.
the losing Zuma and having literally like 3 days to scrim with Diamond Khan and then Max switching roles. And so it must have been weird, but I think they'll figure it out. But Shotzi, his movement was just
Yeah,
different.
he was crazy.
I don't know. He was just running around the map, grabbing
Mm-hmm.
hill time like it was nothing. They played that hard point like it never looked like they had a chance. Like who was just behind them every time. Illy was just
Hmm.
beaming kids.
It was
They just
no,
have
yeah.
too much
They're
slaying
they're
power,
too
and they
good.
also have the best main AR in the game,
Yeah.
Crim Six, the best main
All
AR
right,
in the
that's
game.
a topic we get into later. We're talking about main ARs, but I mean, yeah, I mean that's I don't know about New York. Like I feel like they really will need these 3 weeks to kind of get everything together, and that I mean what happened on Saturday is definitely not like indicative of where New York is as much as it is of where Dallas is already. Dallas is already like good enough to 3-0 probably 4 or 5 teams in the league every
Yeah,
time they face off against each other.
yeah.
That's who Dallas is. I mean, they're one of the best they're one of the best teams all around. They're not too much better at one thing than they are at the other. They're very well rounded. I mean, I think that team can go far, and I think they definitely have a great chance of repeating this year. But I mean, New York, like you said, they went through such a horrible week last week. They went through all these different changes. They've had 5 or 6 different players playing for them all year. They got rule changes, things like that. But I mean, they put up a little bit of a fight at some points. It's not they don't you can't write them off or anything. You can't write any team off after these
Yeah,
preseason.
I think it was one game, but practice definitely shows. And
Hmm.
when I'm seeing scrims or I'm seeing gameplays, these like the guys on Dallas, they play more than anybody. They're playing eights, they're playing S&D, they're doing
Hmm.
this, that, scrimming AM teams, scrimming optic. They're not afraid of anybody. They'll take whatever practice they can get, and teams will eventually catch up, I think,
Definitely.
gameplay wise. But right now, like you can just tell how their dedication to the game has just made them a top team.
Yeah, they're definitely one of the top. They're definitely probably the top team or the second best team wherever whoever else you put above them. They have to be at least number one or two. I don't like that team is
Yeah.
the team's crazy stacked, and I think they might only improve from 4v4. But let's.
Yeah, and I mean in the match, like
Mm-hmm.
the hard point, it did not seem like they had a chance. Like the S&D, like Illy was just clutching
Yep.
1v3s, Hook was just running behind them. Like
Yep.
the control, like did they play Garrison? They probably played Garrison,
Was it
I'm
or
pretty
was it a
sure, but
raid?
or was it
I
a
believe
raid?
it.
No, it wasn't raid. I don't
No,
think
I
it
think it
was
was
raid.
raid. No, it was
Was it
raid.
raid?
Yeah, it was
Yeah, it
raid.
was raid. Yeah, it was raid because yeah, because Clay no, Krim was
Krim was
frying. Krim
frying.
literally
Illy was
was
frying.
body rack. Krim, the best main
I
AR in
like
the
that. I
league.
like that.
He ran up
It might be the
back,
best
ran
AR.
up with a sub. First shot with the Krieg. Bodies him. It was, there was not a
Yeah.
chance.
And
There was
raid
not a
control
chance.
was playing pretty well. I kind of enjoyed it. What did you think about raid control?
So much fun.
You like it?
Yeah, raid control. Yeah, yeah, I mean, you can just see how this map, it has decent spawns because Empire, they all slayed they were all getting slayed out
Mm-hmm.
at it was during the listening too. They all got slayed out at Ring, and they spawned up poolside, like under the like two-story building,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm talking about? And Krim goes like, hey, we're pushing B, and they start pushing up towards like poolside. He's like, all right, I got your pool. Literally just starts beaming kids, gets like a two-piece, and he pushes up
Mm-hmm.
with them. Like it's like that, like you could just tell, like they're just like, all right, we know what to do in this situation. They can react to situations so fast, and he's such a good leader. you know that was really good listening. So I think that map just plays well. There's a lot of options. It doesn't feel very
Mm-hmm.
one-sided. It's just as fair to win an offense as it is a
It's
defense.
it's one of the ones that's easier to get to. Like it's easier to split push or it's easier to rotate
Yeah,
between hills. Like you start spawning like water. If you're pushing too much on ring, you start spawning with pool, and then it starts to get a little enticing to go to that other site. It's kind of interesting how it
yeah.
plays out and how they make
I mean,
decisions.
and and the three lanes are perfect.
Mm-hmm.
There's only like a certain, like, if you're in the point on poolside, you have to look basketball, you have to look money, you have to look out, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to look mid steps, and like behind you, really, it's like that's like manageable.
Right.
Where in some other maps, like it's just kind of bizarre, like the
Mm-hmm. You
positions
kind
they
of have to
put you in.
guess where they're gonna come and pretty much just pre-aim that.
Yeah, but it's also manageable to push. Is manageable for both sides. So it makes it really fair, and I think that we saw some great gameplay from Raid
Mm-hmm.
Control.
Yeah, and let's talk about the next series, which is a little bit more interesting. Uh, the Gorillas versus Seattle. The Seattle Surge ended up losing that to the Gorillas 3-2. LAG looked a lot better than I thought they would look. Seattle looked a little bit worse than I thought they would look. I think the biggest thing for me about LAG was seeing how much apathy was frying and seeing how much each of them kind of took a turn of being playing like as one of the best on the team. I really love the way that Vivid plays. I love watching him play. I think that I think they impressed. I don't think there's. I think they proved to everybody that there's no true basement team. That's what they proved. There's no true. There's
Yeah,
nobody in the
so
basement. It doesn't work like that.
I I predicted that it was going to be LAG 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cheering, Silly, one of my favorite players. Shout out to Zebra. I got to ride with LAG. It's one of my
Definitely.
squads. I'm an Optic fan, but I love LAG too. So I had faith in him. I think Apathy's a good player, and he just has bad games. It happens to
Definitely.
every player. Some players are better at other games than others. Scump's way better at this game than he was at like the past
Mm-hmm.
three. It happens. So I think that this is going to be a good game for going back to 4v4. It's just apathy, silly,
Mm-hmm.
assault, vivid. I was kind of questioning why they kept vivid, but he definitely played well, and I think that these guys just all, no one wants to be so much better than the
Mm-hmm.
other. It's not about like it's just about winning. They've all been there before besides Vivid, but they want to get back there and they know how to do that, so they're going to do what they have to do. And even if they lost the two maps to the Surge, the Surge played
Definitely.
really well, better than I thought he would. Pristini was going off. Honestly, they all played really well. It was so close.
Mm-hmm.
But I think both of the teams in this matchup were really good.
Yeah, no, they proved a lot more. They proved that they all kind of like they kind of know how to play. Yeah, I mean every game mode was pretty close in that map. I'm pretty sure that whole series was pretty decently close. Like that's something I like to see between the bottom, like more of the bottom tier teams, I guess you would say, like the LAGs and Parises and Seattles and you want to see them competing hard against each other. You don't want to see anybody just being like downright horrible, like doesn't deserve to be in the league. I don't think you can really say any of these teams have like don't deserve to be in the league. They're all very very good teams, and like
Yeah,
you kind of cut the fat a little bit when you trim down on the whole league. When you cut from 60 players to 48 players, you should have like the 48 best players in COD. They probably don't have the 48 best players in
yeah,
COD, but I think they have the best teams. I mean, I think they have like the it looks
yeah.
great.
And also a game like 4v4, last year it was like a team got
Mhm.
fried because it was like just go push the hill and get a
Yeah.
kill, right? So like if a team's they're gonna get fried all year. Like
Mhm.
I feel like from what we saw in that map, these like frying this map, and then we go to that first S&D, and it's like the Surge. Stini was frying. They were playing great. You can
Mhm.
actually outplay a team, and it's like a kill race in 5v5.
Mhm.
So I think we're gonna see a lot closer matches this year because last year was more just like who can fry the
Mhm.
fastest, and this year you can really use your strategy and play
Mhm.
tactically.
Yeah, and so let's talk about the next game, the last game of the day, which was probably the best series, might have been my favorite series of the weekend. I don't know about you, but the Phase versus Florida. That was my favorite
Yeah,
series of the weekend. It was 3-2 in favor of Florida. Both S&Ds were tight. The respawns felt really tight. Everything about this match was very close. It was very scary how Florida was playing, and it was very like against a very good Phase team. And Phase didn't look horrible either. It was just how great both of these teams were playing, and it just kind of ended up bouncing in Florida's favor. But when they looked dominant, they looked crazy dominant.
yeah. I mean, FaZe like they just looked good the whole time. They were getting all these kills, and you're like, oh my
Mhm.
God, like Simp doing this, Simp doing that, and then I think what really turned the tide was just you kind of look at this match and you're like Florida, you're like Skies,
Mhm.
Awakening, they just picked up Neptune, whatever. And then they come in there and shout out Slack, shout out all of them. Awakening is frying. Skies is like one of the best players we saw
Definitely.
this
Definitely.
weekend, was just absolutely mopping the floor with them in S&D. Same with Awakening. Awakening he had like a 1.73 in S&D. Him and Skies were like in top 10 for most kills every round. Like, they really brought it to the FaZe boys and S&D, which I really
Mhm.
think helped them for like, that game two is huge. If you go down 2-0, it's like it's really hard to come back and win
Mhm.
that. So that really kept them alive, and I think they looked really good. Neptune had like the plane spot. It was just
Mhm.
weird, but a really entertaining match came down to the line like so bad. It was
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah. No. That was probably my favorite match of the weekend, just because of how like how up to standard both teams were playing. Like I feel like every other match, like it was either a good match because like both teams were kind of just like falling into wins against each other, and then in the other matches like this one, it felt like the teams were really just going at it like crazy. That's why like the match was. That's why this match I think is going to be one that you want to keep an eye on throughout the whole year, because last year obviously they met a few times, and I saw a stat. I think it's true that Awakening hasn't lost the series yet to FaZe since he joined Florida. I think he's 3-0 now in series. Maybe they can't
Yeah,
figure it out.
I mean they met them in the
Maybe they can't handle
finals and they
Big
were
Wake.
frying them.
Maybe they can't handle maybe he's their boogeyman. Maybe he's their boogeyman. You never know.
Maybe.
Well, they'll play again
Yeah.
very
I
soon, I
mean,
believe.
so what I can take away from that match is that I think Simpa, BZ, and Suleiman Arcides are all as good as they
Hmm.
should be. But I think Skies may be the second best main AR behind
I like
Crim6.
that.
You know,
He's top four.
he
He's
was
top 4 or 3 for me.
frying. There was no stopping him. It looked like he was just literally saving them in the control, like just and Skies played a Warzone with David Dobrik, so you already know he's about to be frying because he has the blessing from that was see David Dobrik he gives things to people, right? He gave Skies like just crazy powers,
He gave him the
I
special
think
stuff.
He might have cursed Haggy
His
though.
special
He
stuff.
might have cursed
Jordan's
Haggy
special
though. I
stuff.
don't know about that. Yeah. Hey, Skies
I
is
don't know, man.
frying, man. The M4 Craig, he could do it all.
Skies is. I mean, I think Sky. We both think Skies is a top 3 AR. We both think he's a top 3 main AR in the league. I really think he is.
Yeah, he's a second behind
I
Crim.
like that. So let's go into day 2. We had that first match of the day, which was London versus Paris. This was a match that we both thought Paris was gonna win, and they did it. A lot of people were doubting them. A lot of people were, but I mean, come on.
I don't
London
know
was
why.
playing with a player who was playing on like 120 ping.
The 100 ping
Not
king. Yo, he was frying though.
not on the
He was
last part.
frying
Not on the
low
fourth
key
map,
in the
man. He was
control
struggling.
and the
I felt
control.
bad for him on the fourth map, dude. He'd
Hey,
see a guy first, put like a bullet in him, and they wouldn't even get a weak. They wouldn't even feel it. It's stupid. It's really dumb. But I mean, who are they gonna
yeah.
be able to get him in? I don't think they're gonna be able to get him in, right?
I think he just has to like quarantine for 2 weeks and then he can come over type
Hmm.
shit, maybe. Or maybe we're not letting people
Maybe.
I
Who
don't know.
knows? Who
Hey,
knows how it
I
works?
don't know about hey, ask the CDC. But I just want to say that Dylan looked really good. So did
Mm-hmm.
Shawnee. They both looked like they lost a lot of weight. Like I was like, damn, they're
Yeah.
looking good. So I was like, they're probably gonna play
Mm-hmm.
pretty well. So it went 3-2, because they look good and shit. So, they were playing Miami. Nikki D was going off. I thought this was a really exciting match. I think Aqua is the third best main AR in the league now.
Mm-hmm.
The Garrisons they played, he was playing really well. I was taking notes. I was like, I gotta go floating tank more often. Like, you know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Like, I'm seeing these spots. It just seems like these guys have a lot of game sense. You were texting me mid-series talking Scraps is
No,
trash
I did
next
not say
map.
he was
Dude's
trash.
going
That's not what I
off. Like,
said. I
bro,
said he
you
was
literally, you
costing
literally.
for the first 2 minutes, which he was.
Nah, that's cap. Hold up,
I
hold up.
think I said. I mean, come on. I wasn't mean to say this. I forgot what I even said. What I said, like scraps.
I'm exposing you. Dude, we'll get Scraps on. You said Scraps is dog
Bro, yeah,
water.
bro, he was playing like
Bro,
garbage
you
the
said
first two
Scraps
maps.
is
Look what
dog.
that. You know what that is? It's a reverse jinx. I say that he starts playing well on map 4. Starts playing well on map 3 a little bit, but come on, he wasn't playing. He wasn't playing too well in the first. He went 1-8. Come on, he went 1-8 in the S&D. That's costing. You're playing 3v4 at that point, and 2v4
Yeah,
essentially
I
because you
mean,
got a
I
guy
guess
in UK, man. It's essentially playing 2v4 on that S&D. I don't know. But I mean, at the end of the day, he stepped up. Paris looked really sound. That's the thing is that they looked like they were playing as a team. That they knew how to play. They knew how to play with each other. I feel like Scraps. I feel like Scraps was playing pretty well with. He was doing that little. Who was it? Who he was with in the garage on Miami, and he was playing in like the. He was playing under purple stairs. So like, and then he was just kind of baiting them, and then because he had a guy, I think it was Class. It might have been Classic playing in there with him, or I think it was. It might have been Aqua too. It might have been Aqua or Fire
Fire.
or
You know what? It
could have
could have
been
been
either of them, but
anybody
he was playing
on
these
the
like they were
team.
playing this like perfect little trade right there, and it got him like it ended with Scraps dying a lot, but it also ended up with like 2 pieces from whoever was with him. So I mean, it ended up working.
Yeah,
Those are the plays you have to make.
yeah. I mean, they definitely looked good in all game modes.
Hmm.
Honestly, like it was because the control was like that was super close. It was like them like barely getting into the point in time, like 1v1s in the point, but like Aqua overall KD
Hmm.
1.38, like the number one KD from this weekend. Like, dude is just frying fire with 108 average hill time. That's fifth
Mm-hmm.
best. Like, they're getting on the point. They're playing these respawns well.
Fire looked
Honestly,
great in
like
S&D
they
too.
looked really good. Yeah, Fire looked really good in S&D. I think this team. I think people are gonna
Mm-hmm.
underestimate them, but
Is what it is, man. If they want
you're
to
gonna do
underestimate
that.
them, they can go for it. I'm gonna buy some stock.
They
I'm gonna
gonna
buy
get
some stock.
clapped,
Just
man.
wait for it. Wait for the rise. Buy the dip. Buy it right now. It's going up. Now let's look into the next match. This is another match that we were really looking forward to. Well, we were looking forward to all of these matches, but Toronto versus Minnesota ended up 3-2 in favor of the Minnesota Rocker. I thought Rocker looked good on everything but hardpoint. They looked so lost on hardpoint, but they looked super great on S&D and they looked super good on control. So, who knows with this team? What'd you take away from that?
So I think it's like if you look at all these players, none of them have ever played like the true
Mhm.
objective role. So I think in the hard point, it's a little bit less about there's some parts that are about map positioning, but there's some parts that are like you need to run and
Mhm.
get in the hill, and it's so I'm pretty sure that they'll probably come around and realize what they need to do. But I mean, I think that Lamar, best control player in the game, 2.83 KD in one map, best control player. They just didn't, that's why I think they're going to be the best control team because they're
Mhm.
all really good and they're not OBJ players. They're all just smart. So, they're going to get the map positioning. They're going to get the kills. That's going to be easy. S&D, they looked good.
And with
You
control,
know,
they have
they're
so
all
many
smart
players who
players.
can run to
Major
both weapons.
Maniac, Major Maniac in the Moscow.
He
He
was.
was
He was
frying
frying.
with the sub. Never thought I'd
Nah,
see that. I was confused. I said, Major
he was on
Maniac
through
with a.
phase last year,
I
man.
said,
He
what
was
is
doing it
that?
sometimes with phase last year. He was running it pretty well. It's just he got a little overshadowed, obviously, by who he was, playing with in the sub role. But overall, I mean, I think he's one of the best flex. I think he can run that flex role pretty well, pretty well. That their hard points though were a little mesmerizing. Like I don't know how they could be that bad on hard point because I think they were bad on hard point. Like they weren't
Yeah.
rotating anywhere. They were getting pushed out of their rotations when they did make any attempt to rotate. They were looking like they were looking completely lost, especially on checkmate. They weren't even pushing P2. They were playing super passive and then they were playing super aggressive. They were all over the place. And I don't know, maybe it was just a little bit of bad luck. Maybe it was just a few things broke against them during the game. Maybe it was something like that, but I mean, that's that's two maps right there that they lost by a lot, where they looked dominant on the other three maps.
Yeah. I mean, in Ultra, they played a lot better than I thought they would. Zinni
Mm-hmm.
looked really good. I always say I don't know why they kept Bance,
Bance,
but he
yep,
looked
especially on that
decent.
Garrison.
There was times when Kleenex and Cammy were making plays. All of them played to their worth,
Mm-hmm.
I think. So I think that team may come around. I don't really think there's that bad of a team in the COD League. When you got the 48 best players. So I think we'll see him be able to win some games. But it was closer than I thought it would be. I thought Rocker would kind of just mop the floor with them, but I still think Rocker's a top team regardless of the score of this
Yeah,
match.
no, I think Rocker is a really good team, and I think Hardpoint will kind of figure itself out over time because, like, I think it's one of the more variable game modes. Everybody can kind of play it to a certain extent. I don't know, compared to S&D and Control modes like that, where things get a little bit different. Um, it looked like Minnesota to me had a lot of great like individual performances, but as a unit when they were playing like in the same spots and we were playing for trades and stuff like that, they were playing really well, especially on S&D. I felt like they were getting all the trades they needed to get. And then Toronto looked pretty good to their credit. I just think those S&Ds weren't cutting in their favor every time they got like I feel like they kept getting like a step behind at the start of every round. Just very quickly they get a step behind. They wouldn't get their trades, but they'd almost always get traded. It felt like they maybe needed a little bit of work in S&D, but other than that, I think they're another middle of the pack team that can surprise a lot of teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think and they played Raid Control, which was super fun to watch. I think that these are both good teams who could work on their games a little bit, and we're gonna see them both be able to be really good
Mm-hmm.
teams.
Yeah, so let's bring this all into the last match of the day. Chicago, Optic Chicago 3-0ing the LA Thieves in pretty dominant fashion. Everybody looked great. Brucey was frying, Envoy was frying, the Prince himself, Envoy, he was going crazy. 11? The 11 kill streak was disgusting. And then, they LA Thieves looked they put up a little bit of a fight on that hard point. Things got a little bit good for them at some points. I mean, it was all optic though. That's really everything you kind of take away from the game. Things weren't going right for the LA Thieves. All you could really study and take away from that game is how well optic played.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the Thieves are bad.
No.
I think that Optic is just that good, and I think the Thieves will come around. And I think that Optics, there's been, people have been moving to Texas, have been really busy, and Optics been all situated and everything been taken care of. They've just been playing so much, and they're just frying, and they're playing
Hmm.
super well. They're all really good at getting kills, and they're all actually playing. I think that this team could possibly be better than the Optic Dynasty team that we've seen in the past, if I'm being quite honest.
Mm.
The current
I don't
players
know.
that they have now match with them, and Formal and Scump look like their past selves.
They did
If
look
we're
really
being
good.
honest, they look like players that they were in
Hmm.
the past. And Envoy, Krim, Dashi, Karma, it's like, who
Yeah.
knows? I think we're gonna see something amazing this
Hmm.
season with
Yeah.
Optic. They just played so well, dominant in the S&D too. I think that's gonna be their best
I
game
hope
mode,
so. I mean,
or hard point. They may not lose a
I
hard
hope
point
so.
all year.
If they're a really really good S&D team this year, I think they're gonna be beat. I think they're gonna that's gonna be the thing that helps them. That really really helps them beat Empire and FaZe and Florida and Thieves consistently is that S&D
Yeah,
game because you win the if they continue to be as good as hardpoint as they are, which I think they will be, they'll have the ability to go up 2-0 in series so quickly and like so clearly. Like it just they'll be favored on every map.
yeah,
That's how it's pretty much gonna go. They'll be favored in every series because it's gonna be hard to
yeah.
deny just how skilled they are. And I mean,
I mean,
well,
and and the,
yeah.
the maps were really funny, like the Garrison hard point. Dude, it wasn't even like close. The checkmate S&D slasher. Scum throws a nade, slasher gets hit by his own
Mm-hmm.
trophy. It's
Trophies
just,
were
and then
betraying
and
him.
then they just were demoralized, and then they went 3-0 in the control as
Mm-hmm.
well. And so overall, KD Dashi had the second best with a 1.36. Scump with the fourth best with a 1.32, Envoy with the sixth best with a 1.28, and Formal with a 1.2 with
Mm-hmm.
the ninth best. Like, dude, these guys are literally getting all the kills in the game. It doesn't even
Mm-hmm.
matter.
Yeah, Dashy had 108 in the hill. Envoy 116, just chilling in there, getting all the kills he could. Envoy 1.0 kills per round on that search. He was due for a kill every round. He wasn't gonna get traded. Didn't even matter. He was due for a kill. That's how well that's how well the whole team was playing, and we got to see like individual bursts from all four players on the team, and that just brings you so much. That has to bring you a lot of confidence if you are an Optic fan. And if you just love watching good COD, it should also give you it should also make you really happy. I feel like the Optic team. I just want to see more of them though, because now we gotta wait weeks, and all we're gonna have is those three maps to base it off of. I want to see them. I want to see what happens when they get pushed. I want to see what happens when they go down big on the first two hard points. I want to see what happens then. That's when you can really judge them. That's why I think it's way too early to say that they're gonna be better than that dynasty team or even reach to the heights that dynasty team did because all they've shown us right now is one preseason show match. So I do want to see a little bit more, but I mean things are looking really, really up for them, and that's why. I'm sure we're going to be talking about them in our next part of this podcast, part of the episode today. Um, we're going to be talking about our MVP candidates with a little dark horse there. We're going to be talking about the what else are we gonna get into? Coach of the year, rookie of the year. We'll get into some good stuff. But let's start off with your three MVP candidates. Maybe if you got a dark horse in there, throw that in. What do you have for us?
Nah, you go
You want me to go
first.
first?
You
Okay,
go
okay. I'll go
first.
first. I'll go first.
I gotta think
You got
about
to
that.
think
I gotta
extra.
think
All right,
about
all right,
that for a second. You caught me off guard.
all
Caught me
right.
off guard.
I have Formal as my MVP candidate. I got Skies. He's not. I don't even think he's a dark horse because I just think he's that good. It all just depends on how well Florida plays. If they can maybe get up into top three, I think you could say Skies. And then I also got Shadsy for the back-to-back. I mean, I think it's going to be hard to pull off a back-to-back, especially with the skill on his team, skill all around him. He's really going to have to shine, and that's probably why I don't have a phase player on here right now. But my dark horse, it's hard to say. I feel like nobody. How can anyone from the top three teams be a dark horse? You know what I mean? Maybe I could say like Awakening, be a dark horse pick.
I like that. I
I
like
like
that. I
Awakening.
like
I'm a
that.
big fan of Big Wake.
All right.
Maybe
I
Major
I I
Major Maniac.
all right.
Mike.
Well, my MVP candidates may be a little bit better than that. You know why? I'm going with the GOAT, Pope. Shout out Illy. You know what I'm saying? You know, representing for the Indian community out here. I got a friend named Vishva. He says it's finally good to see some representation on a championship team. Shout out Illy. You know, dude was frying. He was clutching up in S&D. There is not a game mode that he is bad at. There is not a gun he is not good with. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is the best player in the game, no doubt about it in my mind. You know, my other MVP candidates, you know, I'm gonna have to go with my guy Bruce, you know, Dashy,
Mm-hmm.
you know. He's beginning them kills, bro. Doesn't even matter. You can't kill him. You know, they're too good. He's a part of what makes that team so good. Arguably their best player. You know, people say it could be any of them,
It
honestly.
could be any
You know
of
what
them.
I'm saying? My other MVP candidate, and if I swear they're gonna hate me for this one, right? Crim Six. They're
Mm.
gonna hate me for that.
I
They're
don't know.
gonna
I
hate
don't
me
hate
for
you
that.
for that. I kind of like it. I kind of like it.
Hey, best maniac in the league. Hey, my dark horse, you ready for this one though?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I'm going with Slacked. I think he about to turn up, bruh. No cap.
Slacked. That's your dark
Jerry,
horse
bro, the GOAT.
MVP candidate. I don't know.
My dark horse
They don't.
MVP
It's
candidate.
the
Hey,
world
just
isn't
wait,
ready for
bro.
that yet. They don't love him like that yet. That's his problem. They don't love him like that
Exactly.
yet.
They going to.
The
They
world isn't
going
ready
to,
for a
bro.
slacked MVP, for a slacked CDL MVP, hoisting two trophies at the end of the year. I don't know.
I got another dark horse. I got another
I don't
dark
know.
horse.
They don't love him like that
All
yet.
right, once Rocker figures out their hard point, right? The oldest competitor in the league, Major Maniac, is going to become the MVP.
The oldest competitor in the league, Major Maniac, Mike. I don't know. Maybe I think he's. I think he'd be the top S&D player. Definitely be the top S&D player.
But he was fine.
Maybe I don't know. I like it's hard for me though. Like an MVP kind of has to come from a top three team or top two team, right? How do you feel about that? Like, it's not a very deep
Yeah, you know,
league.
I
It's not
mean,
a.
all right, all right, all right,
But
all right, all
I
right.
feel
So if
that.
we're
I
so
kind of
we're
like
all
that.
right. So if that's the conversation. That's how I feel about the MVP award. Cause like when Russell Westbrook won the NBA MVP, I'm like, why? Like his team was a
Mm-hmm.
6 seed. Like, how did him getting a triple double?
Right.
Like, you know, and it's like the MVP doesn't have a standard, but like in COD it kind of does, and I just feel
Mm-hmm.
like I got good picks, like stats wise, you know. But I think now that we're like the CDL in a franchise league and it's an entertainment business, you know, we're gonna like include storyline. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So like the oldest competitor in the league, or like
But he's
Slack,
not the oldest
like
competitor.
getting like it's on
That's the
Survey.
funniest part.
Yo, but that's what
It'll be funny
Maven
though if
said, bro. It
Maven like
doesn't
said it
matter. It
again.
doesn't
Maven just
matter.
doubled down on the joke.
Yeah, but those are my picks. So.
I like those. I like those. I'm interested. They could go to a lot of guys this year, but rookie of the year can't go to a lot of guys this year because there's only like what, three rookies really in the league before maybe four, if maybe four or five if you get a few coming back, because you got Neptune, Fire, Diamond Con, and then you need like what if Hydra comes, that'll be one, that'll be the fourth. But other than that, I mean,
Yeah,
there's not many.
but as of right now, yeah, there's only three. You know what? All right, you pick one, and then I'll pick one.
I'm
I
gonna go with I'm gonna go.
guess.
I mean, as much as I love them all, I want to go with Fire. I think Fire. I think he's nasty. I think he's one of the best. I think he's one of the best S&D players we saw all weekend. I thought he was nice in the hill. Might have been my. He might. He was the OBJ mastermind out there. He might be my OBJ mastermind of the weekend. Maybe in the future when we start running those out. We start looking at all the top teams. Start looking at all the top teams, and none of them have the will of fire, do they? Do they have fire and aqua? Do they have fire and water? That's a duo. That's a duo. We need to coin that duo. Fire and Aqua. Where we need that they need a name. They got to play a few more matches and then we'll see it. they need a name. Fire and Aqua. Fires is going to be going off this year. I think he was really impressive.
I think it's gonna be Neptune because I think that Florida is going to see more success than Paris will.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, that's just how I think the season goes down. I think that Florida is a top team the whole year. They're gonna be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
They were last year. They kind of dropped off at champs, but they got new guys this year, and I think Slack's gonna keep them competitive, keep them going all year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that um Neptune, we saw him on the plane. Like I don't know what the hell he was doing, but you know what I'm saying? Like I think he's got that on lock. He's gonna be good in the respawns. He was frying. He's got good game sense. I think he just plays smart. He came from Halo where you gotta have that kind of knowledge. I think it's easily Neptune.
Mm-hmm. I can see Neptune. I can see Fire. I don't know. I'm kind of torn between them, but I just feel like Fire is gonna bring some more flashier stats, maybe, or something flashier about him, and maybe he'll be the big part of the reason Paris upset one of the top teams in their group in the next few weeks. Who knows? We'll never know. We're gonna get in those predictions in a while because we got 3 weeks. 3 weeks with what? No Call of Duty. No Call of Duty on. You're just gonna be back to watching scrims
Man,
again.
feels bad.
Back to watching optic scrims only because nobody else is scrimming or streaming their scrims. I'm sorry. Just boring, like kind of just waiting for some Twitter drama. There's no substance now. They teased us with that
Wow,
Kickoff Classic, and now we gotta
that's
wait for
that's
weeks. Not this
that's
weekend.
crazy, dude.
Not
I
the
can't believe
weekend
they
after
did us
that.
like that.
It's not gonna be this weekend. Not the weekend after that. At least we got the Super Bowl in between. We can enjoy that, but very dry before that. But let's talk about who do you think can be a coach of the year candidate? I also kind of want to talk about what can make a Call of Duty coach a great asset to a team because
All right, all right, all right.
before they used to
People,
just be hype men. You know,
people,
what
people,
are they
people
now?
hate on people hate on Sender, right? They're like, yo, why is Cinder like their coach? Like they need karma, like they're his friend and shit, blah 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 blah. Like on Reddit. But like Cinder, like, they like respect Troy in a different respect than they do like if Damon was their coach. Like
Mm-hmm.
they respect Damon because he's their friend and they won chips with him. Like Troy is not there to like be their friends. Like Troy is there to like discipline them,
Mm-hmm.
make sure they're like in the scrims, like watching VODs, like talking it over at them. People are like, dude, they're not gonna listen to him, like he's trash at COD. That's like not why they listen to him. Like he's a smart player, came up playing S&D, whatever, relegated for the league.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, he used to tell Killa back when they were on Dream Team, he used to say, I'm the best in the game. Back in Black Ops 3, like, they respect him in the manner that he's just a good player, but he also his only thing in his head is like we're gonna succeed.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like y'all are my friends, like, yeah, like I'm just hanging with the boys. It's like, they're boys, but it's like a coach relationship. You know what I'm saying? So I think easily Sender coach of the year because in the past, Teep, I don't know why Teep couldn't get that team together in BO4. Maybe it's because there was 5 players, and
Mm-hmm.
Damon is very stubborn, so maybe that could have been a factor. They're all great, but you know how everyone is. But I think Sender's going to keep these guys in line, and that's why they're going to see so much great success.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I also think coaches like Joey and Nubsy could be like up for a coach of the year kind of
If
award
they
as
see a
well
lot
because
of
they
improvement,
might keep
definitely.
players like Gunless and Octane and Pristini and Looney like all together and all like cool and not let like any emotions like
Mm-hmm.
spiral out of control. You know what I'm saying? Like he could keep that team together. I think having a coach now is very important.
Mm-hmm. All right, mine's a little different. I got the man himself, Dylan Theory, head coach of Paris Legion. Here's why. Let
Nah,
me explain why. Because
because he was
he's
on
gonna bring that
TK.
team. He's gonna bring that Paris Legion team to the next in the next level. He's gonna help him. He's gonna help that team who just got thrown together right at the beginning of the year. He's gonna help that team become a
Man, come
top
on.
six or top six team, top seven team. Maybe they'll make some noise somewhere here or
No,
another.
he was
Maybe
trying
they'll
to
go on a
he was
nice
trying to
champs
get
run.
Goon on the team.
Who will know?
He was
But
trying to
look at
get
the
Goon
roster
on the
now. Look
team.
at the roster now. Maybe he'll leave it. And you know what else
Yo,
he has
oh
to do?
my
He
God.
also has to be ready to sub in. So you know he's hitting those pro eights. You know he's hitting
Facts,
those
I
old
saw
man
that.
eights
I
at night.
saw that.
He's hitting those
Yo,
old
but
man
deadass,
eights.
they be playing Coach Eights, bro.
Yeah,
I
Coach
swear.
Eights, bro, in theories be frying there. So I think
Bro, is he actually?
Whoever drops the highest KD and Coach Eights deserves Coach of the Year. What about that?
Yo, I'm with that. I'll be seeing clips from like Saint, Sender, Joy Nubsy. Dude, honestly, that's so funny that they play Coach Aids. Like, I'm gonna try to find a
That
VOD of
sounds
that.
funny. Who knows, man? I like Dylan Theory. I also like my man Rambo Ray. He could be bowling right now. He could be a professional bowler right now. But you know what he's doing? He's there coaching that team, trying to win championships. But he could be a professional bowler. He could be a professional golfer. I've seen him on Instagram. His swing is nice. That's all I can say. Shout out Rambo Ray. I love Rambo Ray. I just love the CDL. I love everything. Love everything that's going on. I'd say it's about time to wrap it up. But Alex, before we go, you got any closing thoughts on the weekend?
I think more players need to use Blue Tiger.
It fries. Will we ever see the anime bullets in the CDL?
Dude, so apparently they don't play on like the same accounts or
Yeah,
whatever, right? Like, dude,
I
imagine
heard though.
imagine if they just gave them
Yeah,
all the shit from the store to like promo the shit in
not
the
bad
store.
idea.
Imagine Envoy with the anime bullets and a clown skin, bro.
No, that's
Like
not a bad
nuts.
idea. I actually, they
But like
should give them all
I
the new
kind of
camos.
associate camos with things
Hmm.
like because like Scump on his 74U uses like the diamond from
Yeah.
multiplayer, right? And like Bruce uses the multiplayer dark matter,
Hmm.
and like Formal uses like zombies dark matter. Like, and I wish they could use those like when they're
Formal
playing, you
grinding
know?
for zombies dark matter on top of scrims and eights and
Dude,
shit.
he literally, he
Fuck.
deadass would play like late night zombies and literally just like sit there and just get headshots like all day with on zombies, like just like knew like the nerdiest spot to do it in or whatever in the strat, and then he would have people on and do story time. Some of the best streams I ever watched, bro.
Oh man.
Yeah, Lamar on, dude. He started asking people, "What's the most you've costed and what's the most you've ever costed?" Like it was way too funny, dude.
Oh man.
Hey, they said Dylan Theory was costing, bro. Lamar said McGee costed in World
Yeah,
War
that's why they
II.
dropped him.
How can he be coach of the year? That's all I gotta say.
And
That's all
Sender
I
never
gotta
cost it.
say.
Alright. Alright. That's cool. Alright, well, thank you. We'll be back next week with another episode. Peace out.